All right, let's get right into it. You know, sometimes the most famous landmarks in the world are, well, they're just a set of stairs. But these stairs, the 199 steps in the English seaside town of Whitby, they are so much more than that. This isn't just about getting up a cliff. This is a journey through time, and it's packed with some absolutely incredible stories.
199. It's such a specific number, right? Not a nice round 200. And that number is everything. It's the whole identity of this place. And believe me, it holds way more secrets than you'd expect.
So you have to ask yourself, why? Why on earth has a simple staircase in a Yorkshire town become this famous? We're talking tourists, history buffs, and even goths from all over the world making a pilgrimage here. That's exactly what we're going to figure out.
And here's the thing. Even that famous number, 199, wasn't always a sure thing. For centuries, people couldn't seem to agree. You had the famous preacher John Wesley counting 191 back in 1761. Then old guidebooks from the 1800s were saying, nope, it's 194. It wasn't until 1877, after a big restoration, that the church officially locked it in. 199. So right off the bat, the story starts with a mystery.
Okay, so let's peel back that first layer. The original reason these steps even exist. It all comes down to a test of both endurance and faith.
And when we say old, we mean old. The church up at the top has been there since around 1110, so obviously people needed a way to get up there. We know for a fact they existed in 1340, but back then they were just wood. It took until 1774 for them to be replaced with the massive stone staircase we see today. We're talking 103 tons of stone.
But here's what you've got to understand. This climb was never meant to be easy. For centuries, it was seen as a kind of pilgrimage. The struggle to get to the top was a physical test of your Christian faith. You were basically proving your devotion before you even walked through the church doors.
But that's just the beginning. The story gets, well, a lot deeper. And honestly, a bit darker. These steps weren't just for the living.
Okay, so picture yourself climbing these steps today. Every so often, you come across these little flat platforms, these benches. And you'd be so grateful for them, right? Perfect spot to catch your breath, take in that amazing view. You'd probably think, oh, how nice of them to build these for us tourists.
Well, you'd be wrong. These weren't built for tired climbers. They were built for pallbearers. Their real name? Coffin rests. These were spots for them to put down the heavy coffins on the long, hard journey up to the churchyard. Yeah, kind of changes the whole vibe, doesn't it?
And this was a huge deal for the town. It was a tradition. Even when there was a perfectly good road they could have used, many families in Whitby insisted on this as the final journey for their loved ones. And this wasn't ancient history. This tradition went on for centuries. The very last time a coffin was carried up these steps was in 1933. That's really not that long ago.
All right, now we get to the layer that blasted these steps into global fame. Because in the late 1800s, this quiet, somber staircase was about to become the dramatic entrance for one of the most famous monsters in history.
So, the year is 1890. An Irish writer named Bram Stoker is on holiday in Whitby. He's staying up on the West Cliff, and every day he looks out across the harbor. And what does he see? The imposing ruins of Whitby Abbey. And leading right up to them are 199 steps. And right there, that's where the spark of an idea was lit.
In Stoker's legendary novel Dracula, there's this incredible scene. A ship from Transylvania gets wrecked on the beach in a massive storm. And then, a strange black dog jumps ashore from the wreck and just vanishes.
And where does this dog vanish to? You guessed it, it runs straight up the 1999 steps, heading for the churchyard and the abbey ruins. That dog, of course, was Count Dracula himself, in disguise, making his grand, terrifying entrance into England. And just like that, Bram Stoker made these steps a permanent fixture in the world of Gothic horror.
Okay, so you've made it. You've climbed all 199 steps. What's waiting for you at the top? Well, it turns out the destination is just as wild as the journey up. The churchyard and the church itself are just brimming with secrets. I mean, check this out. At the top, you've got the Huntsrod's gravestone. A couple born, married, and died on the exact same day, September 19th. How weird is that? Then you have local legends of a phantom hearse that thunders up to the churchyard. Oh, and a ghost story about a pirate and a cursed shawl. It's just one thing after another.
And the church itself is quirky.
to say the least. It's filled with these old box pews, one of which is so big it actually blocks the view of the altar. There are ear trumpets bolted to the pulpit for a rector's wife who was hard of hearing. And get this, a 17th century megaphone called a vamp horn for the choir master. You can't make this stuff up.
And this isn't just a bunch of weird stories, you know. This place is a recognized historical landmark. I mean, look at this detailed survey. People have meticulously mapped out every strange nook and cranny of this church because it's considered such a unique piece of history.
So, we've peeled back all these incredible layers of history and legend, which brings us back to the climb itself. Why is it still so worth it today?
Well, for starters, the view from the top is absolutely spectacular. Seriously, it's one of the best views you'll get anywhere in the region. You can see the whole of Whitby Harbor, all the red-roofed houses, and then just the endless expanse of the North Sea. Wow, it's worth the climb for that alone.
Now, full disclosure, there is another way up. It's called the Donkey Road, a steep path that winds up next to the steps. It used to be for, you guessed it, donkeys. But come on, if you're there, you have to take the steps. That's where all the history is. So let's circle all the way back to the beginning. What are the 1990 steps, really? They're not just a way to get up a hill. They are a test of faith. They are a final, solemn journey for the dead. They're a dramatic stage for the world's most famous vampire. And they are a gateway to centuries of secrets and folklore. Every single step is soaked in history. And really, the story of these steps is such a great reminder that the most ordinary things around us can have the most extraordinary stories hidden inside them. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many stories are hidden in the familiar steps, streets, and buildings in our own worlds?